Shabbat shalom to the Mispakah, to the family of Yah. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my sister, co-teacher in the faith. Shabbat shalom, sis.
Shabbat shalom, sis. How are you today?
I am doing wonderful. Cannot complain. Just grateful to be here once again. This morning was I was just overflowing with gratitude in my prayer time with Yah this morning, just thanking Yah because he has just been so good to me.
Yeah.
I just was recounting in my heart, all the things that he has done, all the times he has kept me, just every blessing. If you just ever just sat and just think back over your life and think of where you were and where he has brought you, how far he has brought you. And, we should not take lightly the fact that he has awakened us.
Yeah.
And that awakening was for the purpose of walking in righteousness. Okay. And especially if you are Israel, you were awakened and called for a purpose to be a covenant people. And through you and your obedience and faithfulness to that covenant, then the world would come to know Yah, those Gentiles, okay? They would come to know Yah. You were to be a light unto them, a light into their path. And many of us have failed, that the calling he has told us in Isaiah 42, I believe, verse 6. That is our whole purpose. And this morning I was just overfilled with joy and gratitude and just thanking Yah for all that he has done for me. Yah has truly been good to me. I just wanted to just share just a quick testimony. And I kind of shared last week, the position Yah is moving me in. The blessing that Yah gave me, nonetheless, it was almost a $20,000 raise. And I was sharing with Sister Prina and Sister Stephanie how the HR person, when she had to call me, to just get information, to transfer everything over to this new salary. And the HR person is like, well, she said, I have never seen this in my life. I have never seen, and she said, I've been in HR for many, many, many years. And she said, I have never, because she said, I'm an HR director and I have never seen anyone get a raise this big, like in this chunk, like in this much at one time, all at one time. She said, I've never seen anyone get almost $20,000 raise at one time.
Yeah.
She said, I've been in she said, I've been in HR and HR director for many years. And she said, I've never seen anything like this in my life. She said, I've never heard of this. She said, but you know what? I'm not the superintendent. She makes a decision. So I'm just here to handle your paperwork, because she had to get information from me. And I'm like, yeah, you may not. What you say, Prina?
I said, she don't know our Abba Yah.
She don't know
our daddy. She don't know our daddy. He increases where he needs to, where he feels to increase. He exalt those that he wants to exalt. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he is the one that gives the increase, not man.
Right, exactly. And the fact that when she said that, I was thinking, when she said, I have never seen this, and all I was saying, one word came to my mind. It was like favor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that is, and then you know what? After she said that, I was on my lunch break and I sat and I thought about it, and I'm like, I knew it was happening, but I said, you know what? I have never seen that kind of an increase myself, like ever.
Absolutely.
Like normally you might get 2,000-3,000, maybe 5,000, or a
Right.
big jump. When I was at a public school district, once you get to the top of the scale, they had 12 steps. Once you get to step 11, you jump $11,000. Once you get to step 12, it's 11, but almost 20,000.
Yeah.
I've never seen it either. And I really just sat back and kind of reflected on what she said, and I'm like, all glory to Yah.
Yes. Praise be to Yah. Hallelujah. Yes. That was a mighty that was a mighty blessing, sis. That was a mighty blessing. Yah has, just been showing you favor. You consecrated yourself. And he's just, just giving you the increase that, he know that you deserve. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to give anything that he don't feel that you deserve. And
yeah, it has to be Yah's hand in it, because there's no way anyone was ever getting that kind of a raise.
Yes, they putting it in their pocket.
Right. And so Yah did it himself.
Yes.
And that's the reason why she's never seen it. But like you say, she don't know our Abba. She don't know our daddy. And he gives the increase to his children who are obedient, those who he deems are worthy of the increase, and
absolutely.
And I've thought about it. I was like, this is Yah's favor. And then I said, well, I'm gonna be in prayer, because I was just, kind of hoping that it does not get out, because people sometimes discuss their salaries, teachers and things of that sort. And I wouldn't want like anyone looking at me kind of sideways. But when the HR director said, I've never seen this in my life. She was, and I told her, and I said, I'm worth every bit of it and more.
Absolutely.
More than that. I said, I'm worth more than that. I know my worth. So I'm worth more than that.
Absolutely.
And Yah just put me where he felt like I should have been from the first time I got hired.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I give all glory to Yah. I just wanted to share that testimony this morning, because I told Yah during prayer that I was going to declare of his goodness. He is great in goodness. He passed by me with his goodness, and I'm going to declare it. And it's not to boast or brag. I'm bragging and boasting in Yah. I just want to let people know that. And this is not, we're not prosperity teachers or anything of sort. But what comes to mind is when Solomon prayed to Yah, he prayed for wisdom and knowledge and understanding to lead that great nation, Israel. And Yah said, because you didn't come praying and asking for things, he said he gave him what he asked for, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to lead Israel, but he also blessed him financially. And Yah will do that for his people, but I don't ever pray for, bless me with this much money. And I pray, when I pray to Yah, if I'm felt like at any time, like there were times when I was going through my trial and testing when I was out of work, but that was because it was his will. I was going through my testing, my wilderness time, where I had to overcome that. He needs to know that you're not going to turn away from him because you are out of work, or you don't have money, or you don't have things. You have to put your trust in him. During those times, that I was out of work, the first time it was like 8 months. The second time it was almost a year. And with my qualifications, I should be able to get a job right away. But Yah didn't want that happen. He wanted me to solely depend on him. And so this week was better than last week. All praises be to Yah.
Hallelujah.
I had some breakthroughs this week from some things that took place last week, and things are much better this week. I'm just grateful to Yah just for seeing me through all of it, and just grateful to Yah for just him opening up my eyes to some things that I needed to be able to see, some things that he showed me about myself. I want to not allow anything or anyone to take that seat that in my heart that belongs to him, because there's a lot of things that can get us off focus and off of the goal, which is Yahusha, and have us concentrating on all the things that are going around us, and then we forget you know, and
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
easy. It can
It
happen
is.
in
It
a split
is.
second.
It really is, sis.
Yeah. So how was your week?
You know what? It was wonderful. I had a great week. This was my first week meeting with my students, you
Okay.
know, and it's a diverse group of students. You know, we have African American, we have Hispanic, and then we have Arabic. And the children I work with 4th through 8th grade. And one of the Arabic students just made my day, you know, because he was like, and he only met me that like this first week. He said, I really enjoy coming to meet with you. And we only meet 30 minutes.
Wow.
And so those 30 minutes that whole week was just, you know, it just made my heart feel with joy. Just knowing that I am impacting children of all nations, you know, that I see.
Right. You're being a light. You are
Yes.
a light to that child.
Yes. And so I was just like, because you know, at first it's like they were hesitant and you know, because they don't want to come and be pulled out of class for reading, you know. It looks, you know, they like, why are you coming to get me?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I know how you feel. When I was when we were at a particular school working together, when it was time for me to move on because I went back into coaching.
Yeah.
And I had a student, because Brina and I are both reading specialists. And I have my own literacy consulting company. So I also train teachers. I'm also a literacy coach as well. And so there was a particular student, you know, that I had in a group when it was time for me to leave. He came to me, he was in tears, and he was a 4th grader. And he said, what am I going to do without you? He was like, when I'm having a bad day, when things are not going well, he said, I look forward to coming to your group because I know once I get to your class, everything is going to be okay. Like you are what make me, you know, my bad day, I'm not having a good day. He said, I know that once I get to you, and that right there, like, there's those kind of things, like you said, that, and I understand, you know, exactly how you feel. That just melted my heart to have a child, to know that you mean that much to a child, where you're that bright spot. You're that light in that child's life, where if everything is dark, they know that there's going to be light when they come to you. And that's the whole purpose. That's the whole reason why we're doing all of this, including this teaching ministry. We want to be a light. We want to be a light to those of you who fellowship with us and who take the time out to watch the teachings, to learn what Yah has poured in us via the Ruach. We are grateful for all of you who fellowship with us, who study with us. And I'm gonna go ahead because I'm rambling, but this was the tree I showed last week. The goodly tree that I have hanging over top of my home. Okay, literally where I live is the name of the complex where I live literally means Sukkot, to tabernacle, Sukkot. And I have, or booth, and it's actually shaped like a tabernacle. It has gates at the entrance. It literally, and I'm like right on the second part inside of the gates, almost like where you would have the laver, golden laver, where you will wash your hands. But I have a goodly tree that's hanging over the entrance of where I live, my home. And we know with Sukkot and Booths, they put the goodly trees and over in the palm trees and the branches, they would hang them over the tents, right? So I have this, so y'all specifically placed me here. And ever since I've been done, I love where I live. But I never knew what this was, and Sister Prina looked it up last week, and we determined that this is a crab apple tree. Crab apple tree, And Michigan is one of the locations. It doesn't grow everywhere. But the Midwest and Michigan particularly is one of the areas where it does grow. And I was like, wow, look at y'all. He done gave me put me in a Sokoa, a booth, tabernacle.
Yes.
Like, don't tell me, y'all. Like, he is strategic where he put his people.
Yes, you know? Yes, absolutely. And I love the flowering part of the crabapple tree because the flowers are so beautiful.
Aren't they? Oh, I love my tree. Have you seen the tree when it first, like in the Beeb, when the new year comes in? Have you seen it how it looks when it first blossoms?
No, I have not, sis.
Tree?
Okay. Yes, I have. Oh, your tree, yes.
Yeah, when it first blossoms.
I have seen your tree. The flowers are so beautiful.
Aren't they beautiful?
Yes, I have seen your tree. I believe in all seasons.
Yeah, it was, it doesn't, it's not like that. It's only at the beginning when they first blossom, and then the green leaves come in, and then the fruit come in. Yeah, it's but oh my, because we have the little geese and they be out here waiting under the trees to get their various fruit. There's a lot of fruit trees in my complex too.
Yeah,
a lot of fruit trees. So y'all put me in a goodly place. Like, y'all is so awesome. But just wanted to share that because we were looking and trying to find out the name of this tree. So thank you, Sister Frina, for helping me with that. So just going into our mission and vision for those of you who are new subscribers to the channel, welcome to Daughter of Yah Teaching Ministry. We are a newly rebranded teaching ministry. This teaching ministry is 100% about a return to holiness. Our mission is to prepare and teach a body of believers who desire to return to the ancient path, those who desire to live a life of holiness, as well as share the good news and testimony of our Master Yahusha HaMashiach with others. Our vision is closely aligned with our mission statement, which encompasses our core values and beliefs. We believe that the Bible is the authoritative word of Yah, therefore we stand on, support, and believe in Yah's unchanging word, which is the truth, which is Yahusha. And we also strive to live a life that is 100% in alignment with biblical principles only. We are not influenced by worldly principles and beliefs, especially those beliefs that contradict the word of Yah itself. We strive with every effort to learn and apply the pure, unadulterated word of Yah to our lives, living a life of modesty in behavior, speech, and thought. So not just modesty in your dress, because I have a hair wrap on, or because, I have, a long dress on, but modesty is not just about how you dress, because many of you can be dressed apart, but be filthy on the inward. Yah is looking for those who are going to be modest in their behavior, in their speech. That means you're not a cursing Hebrew, you're not a gossiping Hebrew, you're not making railing accusations, and you think before you speak. That's why he gave us 2 ears, to be able to listen and to hear, and then and be slow to speak. And then in our thoughts, also the things that we meditate and focus on as well, being modest in all ways. So we are finally here, Prina. This is going to be it, everybody.
I know.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. And I'm telling you, I really enjoyed. I'm like, wow, 6 weeks went quick. I'm over here like, we went through 6 weeks that quick.
Yeah, we did. Seem like we just got started.
Yes.
Yes. And, today we're going to be covering chapters 17 through 21. And I don't know about you, but there's a little sadness in my heart that this is coming to an end, because I really have been enjoying this study. I've learned so much, and there's a little bit of sadness there that we're coming to the end. Yes, but today we're going to be studying chapters 17 through 21. Again, as last week we studied 5 chapters, but we got done. That was like the quickest lesson out of the ones that were 2 or 3. So, we're going to be finishing up today. And today I'm going to make sure that and at the end we'll give you more information on how to, because next week is week 7. We'll be done today, but next week Next 7 is our Zoom fellowship, so that we can come together. Those of us who have been studying throughout these 6 weeks with us, we want to see you there. There will be no cameras on, so you don't have to worry about any cameras on. For those who are interested, you will email us and we'll give you the email address at the end, but some of you may already have it. You will email us at daughter of Yah TM, that stands for teaching ministry at gmail.com. So that information will be at the end, where the email address will come up on the screen, so that you can go ahead and write that down or take a picture of it with your cell phone. And you will email us if you would like to join us live for the final message, and the fellowship will go right after. So right after the message that Yah has for me to deliver, we're going to go, and it's not going to be a long message, but we're summing up everything that we've learned, and we're going to come together as a group. I hope you've been taking those organized notes exactly the way that we suggested and laid out for you, because this is a way that you study, okay, and making sure that we are studying to show ourselves approved. And Yah wants us to be organized, not disorganized. There's order to the things of Yah. And if you really want to be disciplined in how to study correctly so that you can get the correct understanding, then follow the methods that you have been seeing, okay? Because if you've been getting understanding and gaining, like people have reached out to us and say, look, hey, I've read this before, but I never got this understanding. And see, so sometimes you have to do things a little bit differently, especially when it comes to studying. I have learned, and just because by nature, by profession, I'm a teacher, not only, Yah calling me to teach, but by profession, I'm a teacher, and I taught early elementary. So my skills that Yah has given to me to be able to break down some complex things into the most simplest form that even a child can understand is a gift. It's a skill that I couldn't do on my own unless Yah gave it to me. And so, so that email address will be at the end of this teaching, so that you can join us and share what you have learned. Share your aha moments. So that's why I said organize it, because when we go through, we're going to go through each chapter maybe, and tell what you've learned. What did you get out of these? What aha moments? Write down those aha moments, those things that really stood out. Take notes on some things that you would like to discuss or bring forth. If you have been blessed by this, we want to know how you've been blessed. This is going to be testimony time, sharing time, Midrash, next Sabbath. So this can be, and it will be recorded for to go out. So we just want to make sure that you are prepared for that, and just make sure you don't have to worry about putting, dressing up or anything like that, because the cameras will be off, and we're requesting that you turn your cameras off, because they'll be off anyway. So today, week 6, our final week, we will conclude with the book of Judges today. Hallelujah. Chapter 17 through 21. We're going to continue with Jephthah, which is not going to be long. And all these judges, well, actually these, and I don't know why I have these on here. We've already covered this. So today we're going to actually finish up. We know that there aren't any judges, so I don't know why I have that on there. I forgot to take it off, but there aren't any more judges. So we're not continuing with any judges today. Today, we're going to be finding out what happens now that there are no more judges. Okay, we're going to be focusing on Micah today. We're going to be focusing on the tribe of Benjamin and what's going to happen with them and their other 11 brothers. And we're going to see how this whole thing ends, how the book of Judges ends. And that's going to lead us into what we're going to be doing for next week. So let's get started. Judges chapter 17. And there was a man of the hills of Ephraim, and his name was Micah. And he said to his mother, the 1,100 pieces of silver which were taken from you, and you uttered a curse, even also speaking in my ear, behold, the silver is with me, I have taken it. And his mother said, Blessed be my son by Yah. He gave back the 1,100 pieces of silver to his mother. And his mother said, I have wholly consecrated the silver to Yah from my hand for my son, to make a graven image and a molten image. And now I am returning it to you. And he returned the silver to his mother. And his mother took 200 silver pieces and gave them to a refiner. And he made it into a graven image and a molten image. And it was in Micah's house. So, as I was reading this with Micah and his mother blessing the name of Yah for silver that is going to be used to make a graven image and a molten image, immediately what came into my heart was that they do not know Yah. And this resonates so true today with many of the things that people do and things that they dedicate to Yah, not knowing that he says, do not do what the other nations are doing. Don't serve me how they serve their gods. He told them in Deuteronomy 12, and then say that you're doing it unto me. He says, don't serve me like them. The first commandment says, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images is the second one. So with this, they're breaking the first and the second commandment. Okay. They're making images of things. They're taking silver and they're making images, taking them to a refiner and then blessing the name of Yah. That's like people eating pork, eating shrimp, eating crab and lobster, and then blessing the food and asking Yah to bless something that he said is an abomination that we shouldn't be eating. And so when people are doing this, that they do not know Yah. They do not know the ways of Yah even. And it's an ignorance that many times we all did it before Yah brought me into his truth 17 years ago. I did it too. I was eating my pork chops and eating my shrimp and catfish and talking about bless this name and make it for the nourishment of my body. And I know Yah probably looking down at me like shaking his head, the nourishment abomination for the nourishment of my body. Okay. And the man Micah had a house of gods, and he made an ephod and household idols and consecrated one of his sons, and he was a priest for him. And so remember we talked about the ephod, okay, which is a priestly garment. Okay, so you think about how, have you ever seen different stories and movies where you see kings and then they'll go ahead and wrap, their garment around them? Most of the time it's gold and with purple in it, and they have different embroideries of jewels and they'll tie it like a cape around them. Okay, so that's where this is from. And so he is making an ephod. Okay, so he had a house of gods, okay, and many household idols, and then he consecrated his sons and he made his son a priest for him. Okay, so it says in verse 6, in those days there was no king in Israel. Each man did what was right in his own eyes. So we know when there is no king, everyone is doing what is right in his own eyes. We know that this means that there's going to be a cycle, right? We have been studying this cycle. Many of you have been able to see this cycle all throughout the book of Judges. Israel, once the judge dies, okay, because there's no king, there's no judge, then what happens? Step 1, Israel rebels and sins against Yah. And then step 2, Yah's anger burns against them. Step 3, they are now going to be oppressed by their enemy. Yah is going to send them into slavery for their disobedience. Step 4, Israel cries out, okay, because of how they're being treated and they are repenting. What? Step 5, Yah now is going to show pity because these are his covenant people. And he's going to raise up a judge to save them, okay? And when that judge is, while they're in the presence of having a judge, while that judge is still yet alive, there is peace. However, once the judge dies, as you see on the screen, the cycle continues all over again. But we're going to find here in this chapter, and actually today, that there's going to be a break in the cycle. There's going to be a break in the cycle. Yah's not going to raise up a judge. And now there's no judge, there's no king, and everyone is going to do what is right in his own eyes. And we see this with Micah, okay? And there was a young man of Bethlehem in Judah, of the family or the house of Judah, and he was a Levite. So we know, for those of you who don't know, there's the connection between Judah, the Judah Levite connection, and even our Mashiach, that Judah Levite connection. He is both king and priest. Yahusha is both king and priest, okay? So we know the house of Judah is, and we're not talking about just a tribe itself, which is Judah is the fourth tribe, but the house of Judah is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, okay? So this is the southern kingdom, okay? After the split, after King Solomon died, they split, okay? Okay, so there was a young man of Bethlehem in Judah, of the family or the house of Judah, and he was a Levite. So I wanted to just clear that up, because some people are like, well, how is he a Levite if he's of Judah? Okay, he's from the house of Judah. That's why it says a family, okay? Benjamin, Levi, and Judah is comprised of the house of Judah. And he resided there. And the man went out of the city, out of Bethlehem, Judah, to live where he might find a place. And he came to the hills of Ephraim, to the house of Micah, to work his way. And Micah said to him, from where do you come from? And he said to him, I am a Levite of Bethlehem, Judah, and I am going to live where I may find a place. And Micah said to him, live with me and be a father and a priest to me. I will give you 10 silver pieces from the days and an order of garments and your upkeep. And the Levite went in, and the Levite was willing to live with the man, and the young man was to him as one of his sons. And Micah filled the hand of the Levite, and the young man was a priest to him, and he was in Micah's house. And Micah said, now I know that Yah will be good to me, because a Levite has become my priest. So we see that Micah has hired. This is, remember, there's a break in our cycle now. Micah, who does not know Yah, we know that he does not know Yah because he has many household idols and many household gods, and making molten and graven images. And he thinks that I can hire someone. Okay, this man is a Levite. Okay, I can hire a Levite and he can be my priest. And because he's a Levite, I know that Yah will be good to me because of this. Do you see this? Look at verse 13. Micah said, now I know that Yah will be good to me because a Levite has become my priest. So this teaching began with, there was no king in Israel. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. So in Micah's own eyes, in his heart, he truly believes that Yah is going to be good to him because a Levite has become his priest. Where is he getting this thinking from? Why didn't he say, I know that Yah will be good to me because Naphtali is my priest, or Danite has become my priest? Why is he saying a Levite? Okay, I'm gonna go to 3 precepts. Where is he? And this is gonna tell you where he's getting this thinking from. Exodus 28:3. This is Yah speaking. He says, you are to instruct all the skilled craftsmen whom I have filled with a spirit of wisdom, to make garments for Aaron's consecration, so that he may serve me as priest. So Aaron and his sons, Aaron, the house of Aaron, they are Levites. and they were ordained by Yah to be priests. Okay, Aaron's rod budded. He was chosen to be a priest. So Yah is saying, choose men who are skilled, whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom. Notice he said the ones that I have filled with the spirit of wisdom, because they will know exactly what to do. Even in our doings and our dealings, you want people who are filled with wisdom. I right now, I am, I have not, and I'm trying to, I really want to get my son baptized as soon as possible. And if not, I'm probably going to do it. But I wouldn't want anyone that wasn't filled with the spirit of wisdom to do it. I wouldn't want anyone who is not truly serving Yah. We see there's many, and there's many who have been awakened to the truth, but I don't want somebody that's still fornicating, but just because you Israel, you have a congregation. There's many people in here in Michigan, especially in Detroit, who I could say, oh, I want you to do it, but I'm praying and asking Yah, because I don't want someone who is not filled with the spirit of wisdom to do it. How you gonna consecrate somebody and you ain't consecrated? You not set apart. You fornicating. You are a liar. You're walking in disobedience, but you're gonna consecrate somebody else. So you want, even in your dealings, you want to make sure that the person is filled with the spirit of wisdom. So he says, I want you to instruct those who are skilled craftsmen, who I have filled with the spirit of wisdom. Y'all didn't just want anybody touching the garments and making the garments, but somebody who is filled with wisdom. He says to make garments for Aaron's consecration, so that he may serve me as a priest. So this is where Micah is getting this, because Micah is aware that the Levites were ordained to be priests. They were chosen by Yah, not by men, but by Yah. Exodus 28:41. This is the second precept. Yah says, after you put these garments on your brother Aaron and his sons, anoint them, ordain them, and consecrate them, so that they may serve me as priests. So remember, we read that Micah made an ephod, which is a priestly garment. So these are priestly garments, and Yah wants only those who are truly serving him, those who are filled with the spirit of wisdom, who are skilled to make them. Okay. And after they put the garments on, then he's going, when they put their garments on, their priestly garments, Yah's going to anoint them and ordain them, and then consecrate them. Why? He says, so that they may serve me as priests. So you can't serve. Many people want to be known as an elder, a leader, a pastor, a priest, whatever. We put all these titles on, and we think just because we're Israel, that's all that matters. I'm Israel, boom, and now I'm a priest tomorrow. No, that's not how it happens. You have to be called, first of all, to do it, anointed, and then he ordains you, and you have to be consecrated. You have to set yourself apart. He says, so that you may serve me as priest. And the third and final one that I'm going to just give, there are a billion, but I just wanted to just give you at least 2 or 3, because it says in Torah that everything must be established by 2 or 3 witnesses. So I wanted to give you 3 witnesses, so that you can see where Micah is getting this understanding. He didn't say a Danite, he said a Levite. You understand? Not a Simeonite, but a Levite. Okay, you are to consecrate them so that they will be most holy. Whatever touches them shall be holy. Anoint Aaron and his sons and consecrate them to serve me as priests. So he could have chosen any of the 11 other brothers, but he didn't. He said, this man is a Levite, so I know that if I hire him to be my priest, then I know y'all gonna be with me. I know y'all's gonna bless me, because he's a Levite. In those days, there was no king in Israel. And in those days, the tribe of the Danites was seeking an inheritance for itself to inhabit. For to that day, it had not fallen to them by inheritance among the tribes of Israel. And the sons of Dan sent out of their family 5 men from their whole number of men, sons of valor from Zorah and from Eshtal, to spy out the land and to search it. And they came and they said to them, go, search the land. And they came to the hills of Ephraim, to Micah's house, and lodged there. They were near the household of Micah, and they recognized the young man's voice, the Levites. So they're there, they're searching out the land because Dan doesn't have any land, and the lot did not fall to their tribe. We notice Dan is missing in the end of Revelations 2, but that's another story. But they're searching out the land, and they came upon the hills of Ephraim to Micah's house, and they heard the voice of the Levite. Okay. And they turned in there and said to him, who has brought you here? And what are you doing in this place? So they want to know, why is he here in Micah's house? He says, what have you here? Like, what's your reason here? What business do you have here? And he said to them, this Micah has done for me. Micah, he's saying, is hired me, and I am a priest to him. So this Levite is saying, I have been hired, okay, by Micah to be his priest. And they said to him, please ask of Yah, and we will know whether our way in which we are going will be prosperous. So they want to know that the way that they're going about getting land, they want to know, is this right? Is this going to be right and a good thing for us? Will we be prosperous if we do what we're going to do? We go by way of the way that we're going to obtain land. And the priest said to them, go in peace. Your way in which you go is before Yah. So clearly this is not so. This man is hired. He's not hearing from Yah, and Yah never told him that the way that Dan is going about it is the way to go. Okay, so this is what happens when you have a hireling as a priest. When many of these pastors that are in these churches are hirelings. They're hiring. That's why that 501c3 or whatever, I'm probably messing it up, but that's why when you're taking money from the government and they're going to tell you what you can and cannot preach, you cannot preach the truth. I would not be able to preach the truth if I was a part of that. So if your ministry is a part of that, that's hush money. Get out of that congregation. Okay, you're taking money from the enemy, and they're going to only allow you to teach and preach certain things, okay? And so that's the difference between having a hireling and a true shepherd, okay? Because a true shepherd is going to be thinking about the people and not themselves first, okay? And the 5 men departed and came to Laish. So they're going because this man has told them that your way is prosperous, that Yah's going to go before you, okay? So they departed and came to Laish. And they saw the people living securely in its midst, according to the customs of the Sidonians, quiet and secure. And there was none to put them to shame in the thing, nor possessing authority. Okay, so there were no walls. Okay, there were no walls here. They were in a place where they're living in security. They're living in a place of peace, and there are no walls here. Okay, so they're seeking counsel from this Levite who was hired by Micah, who has told them the way you're going to go is going to be a good way. Okay, so now they're getting ready to attack these people who are living in a secure, secure space after they had spied out the place. Okay. And there was none to put them to shame in the thing, nor possessing authority. And they were far away from the Sidonians, and there was no word from any man. And they came to their brother at Zorah and Eshtal, and their brother said to them, what did you do? And they said, rise up, and we shall go up against them. For we have seen the land, and behold, it is very good. And would you be silent? Do not hesitate to go to enter in to possess the land. When you go, you shall come to a secure people, and the land is large on both hands. For Yah has given it into your hands. So they're taking, like I said, they're seeking ill counsel from the Levite who was hired by Micah. And Yah, and they're telling them go up against them because Yah is going to give them give them into your hand. This is what they're thinking. Okay, a place in which there is no lack of anything which is in the land. So this is a very prosperous land. And it says 600 men of the family of the Danites from Zorah and from Eshtaol girded themselves with weapons of war. And they went up and camped in Kirjath Jearim in Judah. Therefore, they call that place a camp of Dan until this day. Behold, it is behind Kirjath Jearim. And they passed on from there to the hills of Ephraim and came into the house of Micah. And the 5 men who had gone to spy out the land of Laish answered and said to their brothers, do you not know that there are in these houses an ephod and household idols and graven images and a molten image? So they're like, he got idols, he got ephods, he got graven images, molten images. This is in here. And it says, and now you know what you are to do. And they turned in there and came into the house of the young man, the Levite, in Micah's house. And they asked him for the peace. And the 600 men of the sons of Dan, girded with their weapons of war, were standing at the opening of the gate. And the 5 men, those who went to spy out the land, came in there, and they took the graven images, they took the ephod and the household items and the casted image. So they're taking all of Micah's belongings. And the priests were standing at the opening of the gate, and the 600 men who were girded with weapons of war. And when these went into the house of Micah and took the graven images, the ephod and the household idols and the casted images, it says, even the priest was with them. What are you doing? And they said to him, be quiet. So they taking everything, all the idols, even the priest. Okay. When a priest said to them, what are you doing? And they told him to be quiet. Lay your hands on your mouth and go with us and be a father and a priest to us. It is better for you to be a priest. He says, he's asking a question. Is it better for you to be a priest for one man's house or for you to be a priest to a tribe and a family in Israel? So now he's being presented what they're trying to seem is a better deal. Okay, a better situation. Would you just rather be a priest? Like, basically, what kind of priest is this if you just a priest of one person? Wouldn't you want to be a priest and be over a whole tribe, be over a whole family in Israel? And the heart of the priest was glad. Okay, so he's coveting. And again, he is a hireling. And I don't want you to forget that. He was hired. He has no loyalty to anyone. He was hired. And the heart of the priest was glad. And he took the ephod and the household idols and the graven images and went among the people. And they turned and departed and put the little ones and the livestock and the valuables before them. So you think about it. This is supposed to be a man who's supposed to be a priest, supposed to be a shepherd, supposed to, receive counsel. He was hired to do that and to be that for Micah, only to betray him, only to help. That's like the wolf coming in amongst the sheep, and then you're going to help the wolf, and then take everything that belongs. So this is different between a hireling and someone who's truly been ordained and called by Yah. Okay. And in the minute he thought that he could get something better that was worth more, he departed. Okay, he forsook Micah. And I want you to keep that in mind. This was supposed to be a priest. He was supposed to be a shepherd. He was supposed to counsel. He betrayed him, and then he forsook him. And he even helped the enemy. Okay. And they turned and departed and put the little ones and the livestock and the valuables before them. And they had gone far away from Micah's house, and the men who were in the house near Micah's house had been called together and had overtaken the sons of Dan. They were shouting as they caught up with them. The men of Dan turned around and said to Micah, so Micah is chasing after them because they got his graven images, his ephod, his casted image. They got all of that. And so they're chasing. Micah is going after him. And Micah is saying, and so the Danites are saying, what's the matter? Why have you called these men together? Because he don't got some men together to go after them. He said, why do you have these men chasing after us like this? This is what the Danites are saying. They got all his stuff and asking him, why are you chasing me? And Micah replied, you took the gods I made and you took my priests that I hired and you went away. He said, what else? He said, what else do I have left? He said, how can you ask me what's the matter? He like, what am I in the Twilight Zone here? You don't came and broke in my house, stole all of my images, my God, and you don't ran off with my priest that I hired, and then you got the nerves while I'm chasing you. You talking about what's the matter? He talking about, how can you ask me what's the matter? That's like somebody breaking in your house, running out with your TV, and then you chasing after them. They turn around asking you, talking about what's the matter? Why are you chasing me? And so he's like, how can you ask what's the matter? And the sons of Dan said to him, do not let your voice be heard among us, that the men bitter in soul not fall on you and you lose your life and the lives of your household. So basically, he's threatening him. Not only will you lose your life, but the lives of your children, your household, whoever. And the sons of Dan went on their way, and Micah saw that they were stronger than he and turned away and went back to his house. And they took that which Micah had made and the priests he had and came against Laish, against a people that were quiet and secure. And they struck them with the mouth of the sword and burned the city with fire. Wow. And there was no deliverer. And there was no deliverer. Let me say this again. And there was no deliverer. Remember, we're now seeing a break in the cycle. There's no deliverer. There's no one to redeem. There's no one when they cry out. When they cry out, there's no one to deliver, no one to be raised up to redeem them. Okay? Because it was far from Sidon and they had no business with any man. And it was in the valley, which is beside Beth Rahab. And they built the city and lived in it. And they called the name of the city Dan by the name of their father Dan, who was born to Israel. And yet Laish was the name of the city at first. So now they don't rename the land from Laish to Dan. Why? Because the priest told them that the way they was going about it was good. Okay. And the sons of Dan raised up for themselves the graven images. And Jonathan, the son of Gershom, the son of Moses, he and his sons were priests to the tribe of the Danites until the day of the captivity of the land. And they set up for themselves Micah's graven images, which he had made all the days that the house. And that's the one thing I want to say. So we're in chapter 19. We've already covered 2 chapters. That's why I told you this is going fairly quickly. You know, then they knew, yeah. Okay, they knew his laws, his statutes of judgment. They were all there, they and their households. But somewhere again, there must have been a break in the generation. Someone turned away. Okay, and then when you turn away and then you raise a new generation that does not know Yah, clearly they don't know Yah because they're grabbing graven images and going along their way and building it up and still thinking because they have a Levi priest that Yah is going with them and that he ordained for them to go in and to take over the city of Laish, or these people who were safely dwelling in security, you know. And so this is how you know they don't know Yah. Again, we see chapter 19. Every chapter we've been starting off today is starting off with, in those days there was no king. Okay, we already know when there's no king, what Israel's going to do. Okay, there was a man, a Levite, living on the further side of the hills of Ephraim, and he took a wife to himself, a concubine out of Bethlehem, Judah, and his concubine committed adultery against him. And she went away from him to her father's house, to Bethlehem, Judah, and was there many days, 4 months. And her husband rose up and went after her to speak to her heart, to bring her back. And his young man was with him and a team of donkeys. And she brought him into her father's house. And the young woman's father saw him and rejoiced to meet him. And his father-in-law, the young woman's father, detained him. And he stayed with him 3 days, and they ate and drank and stayed there. And it happened on the 4th day, they rose up early in the morning, and he rose up to go. And the young woman's father said to his son-in-law, sustain your heart with a bit of food. Afterwards, you shall go on. And he sat and ate both of them together and drank. And the young woman's father said to him, please be content and stay all night. Let your hearts be good. And the man rose up to go, and his father-in-law pressed him, and he turned back and he stayed there. And he rose up early in the morning to go on the 5th day. And the young woman's father said, please refresh your heart. And they stayed until the turning of the day, and they ate both of them. And the man rose up to go, he and his concubine and his young man. And his father-in-law, the young woman's father, said to him, please notice that the day has faded towards the evening. Please stay the night. Behold, the day is declining. Stay here and let your hearts be good. And you shall rise up early tomorrow for your journey, and you shall go to your tent. But the man was not willing to stay the night. And he rose up and departed and went until he was opposite Jebus, which is Jerusalem, and was with him a team of saddle donkeys. And his concubine was with him, and they were near Jebus, and the day was spent. And the young man said to his master, please come, and we shall turn to this city of the Jebusites and stay in it. And his master said to him, let us not turn to the city of an alien that is not of the sons of Israel, or the stranger, okay? But we shall pass over to Gibeah. And he said to his young man, come, and we shall draw near to one of these places and stay in Gibeah or in Ramah. And they passed on and traveled on, and the sun went down on them near Gibeah, which belongs to Benjamin. So Gibeah belongs to Benjamin. So they're passing on, now pay attention, and they're traveling on the road or land of Gibeah, which belongs to, or Gibeah, which belongs to Benjamin, okay, the sons, the tribe of Benjamin. And they turned aside there to go in to lodge in Gibeah, and he went in and sat in a broad place of the city, yet there was no man that took them into his house to lodge with him. So no one took him in to lodge, okay? And it says, and behold, we know when it says the Hebrew letter, hey, behold, pay attention for what's going to happen next. A man, an aged one, came from his work from the field in the evening, and the man was from the hills of Ephraim, and he was a fearful stranger in Gibeah. But the men of the place were sons of Benjamin. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the men, and saw the man, the traveler, in a broad place of the city. And the aged man said, where are you going, and where do you come from? And he said to him, we are passing from Bethlehem, Judah, to the other side of the hills of Ephraim. I am from there, and I am going to Bethlehem, Judah, and I am going to the house of Yah. So he's saying, okay, this is where you're trying to go. He said, well, I'm from there. I'm going to the house of Yah. Yet there is no man to take me into the house. But there is straw and food for our donkeys, and also there is bread and wine for me, and for your slave girl, and for the young man with your servants. There, he said, there is no lack of anything. And the old man said, peace to you. Only all you lack shall be on me. Only do not spend the night in the open. And he brought him into his house and mixed fodder for the donkey and washed their feet, ate and drank. And they were making merry their hearts, okay? And behold, men of the city, okay? Men of the city, sons of worthless men, went around the house, beating on the door. And they spoke to the old man, the housemaster, saying, bring out the man who has come into your house, and we shall know him. And the man, the housemaster, went out to them and said to them, no, my brothers, please do not do this evil thing. Please do not do evil. Since this man has come into my house, do not do this grave sin. So I'm just wondering what is coming to mind when you're looking at this, okay? And behold, he says, behold, my daughter, a virgin, to his concubine, please let me bring them out and humble you, and you can humble them. So he said, look, please do not come with these, because they said we wanted to know them. So they're not talking about, I want to get to know you. What's your favorite color? Oh, you like blue? Oh, okay. Well, I like oatmeal. No, they're talking about sleeping with them. They want to have sex with these men. They're homosexual. And if Sodom and Gomorrah has not come, this is what's happening with Lot. Okay. Remember this same story. I did not know that this was a mirror of what happened with Lot and these men. I had no idea. He was trying to tell them, look, I got 2 daughters. Just don't do this. It was like, look, get out the way. We want those men that are there. Okay. But they didn't know these men were angels. But again, he says, behold, my daughter, a virgin, and his concubine. He like, look, I got a daughter. She's a virgin. She's never been with anybody. And this man, he has his concubine. He says, let me bring them out and you can humble them and do to them that which is good in your eyes. But he says, do not do this wicked thing to this man. So I did not know that the book of Judges also include, this is like an exact mirror of what we have read with Sodom and Gomorrah. And the men were not willing to listen to him. And the men took hold on his concubine and brought her out to them outside. And they knew her, meaning they slept with her. Okay. And they abused her all night into the morning. So she was pretty much being raped. Okay. And they sent her away at the dawning of the day. And the woman came in at the dawning of the morning and fell at the door of the man's house where his master was till it was light. And her master rose up in the morning and opened the door of the house and went out to go his way. And behold, the woman, his concubine, had fallen at the door of the house, and her hands were on the threshold. Okay, so they killed her. They abused her to the point sexually till she died. And there's no telling what else what they did to her because she was abused. And he said to her, rise up and we will go. But there was no answer. And he took her on the donkey, and the man rose up and went to his place. And he came to his house and took the knife and laid hold on his concubine. And it was so. All who saw it said that there has never been a thing like this from the days of the sons of Israel came up out of the land of Egypt until this day. He says, set yourselves on it and take counsel and then speak. So he cut her up into 12 different pieces. He cut her body. Like I told you, this book of Judges was very gritty, very gruesome, bloody. We read earlier where Jael took the tent peg and nailed it through. Like this book was like, if you're like one of those squeamish people, you probably would have had trouble reading this. But yes, he cut his concubine when she fell at the foot of the door. When he opened up the door, they abused her all night to the point where they killed her. And he trying to wake her up, and he only to realize she was dead. So he cut her bodies up. He cut her limbs of her body. He cut her up into 12 different pieces. And it says that there has never been and never was seen a thing like this from the days of the sons of Israel came up out of Egypt. Even until this day, they said they never seen anything like this. So basically he's saying, set yourselves on and take counsel and speak. So he's going to send her body pieces into all the regions of Israel. Every tribe will get one piece of her body. He wants them to make a decision on what they are seeing on this matter. Okay. Remember, there is no judge. There's no judge. So he can't go to the judge and say, and make a matter, on this, decide the matter of this issue that has happened. He is just going to send one part of her body to every tribe. That's why she was cut up into 12. And he's saying, look, speak on this matter. Remember, there's no judge. And all the sons of Israel went out, and the congregation was assembled as one man from Dan even to Beersheba and the land of Gilead to Yah at Mizpah. And the leaders of all the people of all the tribes of Israel presented themselves in the assembly of all the people of Yah, 400,000 footmen, and they were drawing swords. So they all came together, okay? And the sons of Benjamin heard that the sons of Israel had gone up to Mizpah. And the sons of Israel said, speak up. How did this evil happen? And the Levite, and the man, the Levite, husband of the woman who had been murdered, answered and said, I came into Gibeah, which is to Benjamin. So remember earlier I told you, pay attention to that. Gibeah was owned by Benjamin. It belonged to Benjamin, okay? Benjamin is the youngest of Israel, who is Jacob's son, okay? So he's saying, look, we were trying to pass through. This belongs to Benjamin. He said, I and my concubine, we were going there to lodge. He says, and the men of Gibeah, who belonged to Benjamin, rose up against me, he said. And they went around the house against me at night. He said, they had in mind to kill me. And he says, they raped my concubine and she died. And I took hold on my concubine, he says, and I cut her up in pieces and sent her into all the land of the inheritance of Israel. For they have done evil and folly in Israel. Behold, you are the sons of Israel. Give here your word and counsel. So he said, look, you're the sons of Israel. Speak on this matter. And all the people rose up as one man, saying, not one of us shall go to his tent. Not one of us shall return to his house. Now, this is the thing which we shall do to Gibeah, going against it by lot. And we shall take 10 men of 100 of all the tribes of Israel, and 100 of 1,000, and thousands of 10,000s to take food for the people, that they may act when they come to Gibeah of Benjamin, according to all the folly which has been done in Israel. And every man of Israel was gathered to the city, knit together as one man. So they were all on one accord, all of Israel, on what was going to take place to render judgment concerning this matter and what happened. Okay, again, there was no judge, so they had to act together as one. And the tribes of Israel sent men to all the tribes of Benjamin, saying, what is this evil which has happened among you? So there, because Gibeah belongs to Benjamin, the tribes of Israel, his 11 brothers, are coming to the tribe of Benjamin saying, what is this evil thing that has happened among you? And now they said, give up the men, the sons of worthlessness, which are in Gibeah, and let us execute them. So now Gibeah belongs to Benjamin. So they're going to Benjamin and saying, look, you need to give up those worthless men that are in this town you live in, and we're going to execute them, because this is judgment that we're going to do for what they did to our brother's concubine. And we shall consume evil from Israel. But let's look what happened. It says, but Benjamin was not willing to listen to the voice of his brothers, the sons of Israel. And the sons of Benjamin were gathered out of the cities of Gibeah to go out to battle with the sons of Israel. And the sons of Benjamin counted themselves on that day. Out of the city were 26,000 men drawing the sword, besides the inhabitants of Gibeah, who counted themselves 700 chosen men. Among all this people were 700 chosen men who were left-handed. Okay, so the ones they chose were left-handed. Hey, I'm left-handed too. My whole family is left-handed. Each of these were able to sling a stone at a hare, and he did not miss. And the men of Israel numbered themselves, besides Benjamin, 400,000 men drawing sword, each of these a man of war. And they rose up and went up to Bethel and asked of Yah, and the sons of Israel said, who shall go up for us at the beginning of the battle with the sons of Benjamin? And Yah said, Judah at the beginning. And the sons of Israel rose up in the morning and camped against Gibeah. And the men of Israel went to battle with Benjamin. So Israel, the 11 brothers, are battling against the 12th brother, Benjamin, who was the youngest. They're battling and fighting against their brother, because Benjamin does not want to give up these worthless men that committed folly. And the men of Israel set themselves in order against them to battle against Gibeah. And the sons of Benjamin came out from Gibeah, and on that day they destroyed 22,000 to the earth in Israel. So Benjamin is destroying his brothers. He's fighting against his brothers. He has betrayed. He's not going to give them up. And the people, the men of Israel, took courage and set against the and again set the battle in order in the place where they set themselves on the first day. We're in chapter 20, guys. We're heading towards the end. Almost done, guys. I told you. And the sons of Israel went up and wept before Yah until the evening, and asked of Yah, saying, shall I again draw near to battle with the sons of my brother Benjamin? And Yah said, go up against them. So you see this? They're weeping. The sons of Israel are weeping before Yah, and they're asking Yah, shall I again draw near to battle with the sons of my brother? They're asking Yah, am I supposed to be battling? I gotta fight against my own brother? And Yah said, go up against them. And the sons of Israel drew near to the sons of Benjamin on the second day. And Benjamin came out to meet them from Gibeah on the second day. And again, Benjamin destroyed to the earth 18,000 men of the sons of Israel. All these were drawers of sword. And all the sons of Israel went up, even all the people, and came to Bethel and wept. And they sat there before Yah and fasted on that day into the evening, and caused burnt offerings and peace offerings to ascend before Yah. And the sons of Israel asked of Yah, and the ark of the covenant of Yah was there in those days. And Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, was standing before it in those days, saying, shall I again go out to battle with the sons of my brother Benjamin, or shall I cease? So they want to know, do we stop fighting our brother, or should we keep going? And Yah said, go up, for tomorrow I will give him into your hand. And Israel set ambushers against Gibeah all around. And the sons of Israel went up against the son of Benjamin on the third day. And they set themselves in order against Gibeah as at other times. And the sons of Benjamin came out to meet the people. They were drawn away out of the city and began to strike the people down wounded as at other times, in the highway of which one goes up to Bethel and one to Gibeah in the field, about 30 men of Israel. And the sons of Benjamin said, they are destroyed before us as at the beginning. But the sons of Israel said, let us flee and draw them out of the city into the highway. So they saying, look, we're going to come out of Gibeah. We're going to draw them out of the city. Because that's kind of like, if somebody want to fight you, but they come to your house. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what you got. So they say, no, we not this time. We're going to draw them out into the highways. And all the men of Israel rose from their place and set themselves in order at Baal Tamar. And Israel's ambush came out of its place, out of the meadow of Gibeah. And they came in across from Gibeah, 10,000 chosen men out of all Israel. And the battle was heavy, and they did not know that evil was striking them. And Yah struck Benjamin before Israel, and the sons of Israel destroyed 25,100 men on that day in Benjamin. And all these were drawers of sword. And the sons of Benjamin saw that they were stricken. So finally, Benjamin, they had been boasting. Like, you coming again? Oh, the first and second time. But the third time, that's when Yah acted. They were boasting like, oh, we'll just do what we've been doing before. But this time was different. They saw that they were stricken. And the men of Israel had given place to Benjamin, but they trusted to the ambush which they had set against Gibeah. And the ambush hurried and came against Gibeah, and the ambush drew itself out and struck all of the city by the mouth of the sword. And there was a set time to the men of Israel with the ambush to make it great, there causing a rising of smoke to go up from the city. And the men of Israel turned in battle, and Benjamin had begun to strike, causing some to be slain of the men of Israel, about 30 men. For they said, surely they are stricken down before us as the first battle. And the rising of the smoke began to go up from the city, a pillar. And Benjamin turned around, and behold, the whole city had gone up towards the heaven. And the men of Israel turned, and the men of Benjamin, now they says they were troubled. Okay, now they scared, for they had seen that evil had struck them. And they turned before the men of Israel towards the way of the wilderness, and the battle followed them. And those who were from the city were destroying them in their midst. So they're just destroying them. Okay, now Benjamin is scared. They're running into the wilderness and they're pursuing them and they're killing them. They surrounded Benjamin and they pursued them without rest. And they trod them down until they were opposite Gibeah at the rising of the sun. And 18,000 men of Benjamin fell, all of these mighty men. And they turned and fled towards the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon. And they gleaned 5,000 men of them in the highways and caught them to get them. And they struck 2,000 men of them. And all the ones of Benjamin who fell were 25,000 men drawn the sword on that day. All of these mighty men. And 600 men turned and fled into the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon. And they lived in the rock of Rimmon 4 months. You can see Rimmon in the upper left-hand corner, okay, of the map. And the men of Israel turned back to the sons of Benjamin and struck them by the mouth of the sword from the entire city to their livestock, to all that was found. So they killed everything, even their animals, everything that was found. Also, they set fire to all their cities which were found. And the men of Israel had sworn in Mizpah, saying, not one of us shall give his daughter to Benjamin for a wife. And the people came to Bethel and sat there before Yah until the evening. And they lifted up their voices, and there's a wept a great weep. So they're sad. They're not happy. That's why they kept going back to Yah. Should we keep going against our brother? And Yah said, go against them, because I'm going to give them into your hands, because what Benjamin was doing was wicked. Okay? They was wicked. They was following Israel, and they betrayed their brothers. Okay? They said that not even, and when they were going up to battle, because Benjamin refused to give up the perpetrators, okay, those who were guilty, they said that none of us can give our daughters to Benjamin for a wife. Okay, so now they're weeping. They're lifting up their voices and they're weeping to Yah, and they said, oh Yah, Almighty One of Israel, why has this happened in Israel, to be lacking one tribe from Israel? So they said, look, we lacking one tribe. They are weeping over the loss of their brother. And it happened on the next day. The people rose early and built an altar there and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. And the sons of Israel said, who is he that did not come up in the assembly out of all the tribes of Israel to Yah? He says, we took a great oath, had been undertaken concerning him that did not come up to Mizpah, saying, surely he shall be put to death. And the sons of Israel repented concerning their brother Benjamin. And they said, one tribe from Israel has been cut off today. What shall we do for them, for those who are left? See, there were 400 that were left, that were able to escape in the cave of Rimmon. They were able to hide. Okay. He says, what? She says, so one tribe has been cut off today. What shall we do for them, for those who are left, for wives? For we surely have sworn by Yah not to give them of our daughters for wives. So again, Israel wanted to make sure that they took sons or daughters from within the tribe. And they had already, remember, the 11 brothers had sworn, we not giving none of their men our daughters unless you be cursed. They took an oath. And so they're weeping like, what is going to happen to them now? Because they can't take our daughters. We said we're not going to give them our daughters. So there's like, they even though 400 have escaped, who gonna give their daughter to them because of what they did? They took an oath not to do that. So they're crying because they know that once you start going and mixing with the other nations, there's not going to be pure Israel. Okay. And they said, one out of the tribes of Israel has not come up to Yah, to Mizpah. And behold, no one had come into the camp from Jabesh Gilead to the assembly. And the people numbered themselves, and behold, there was not a man of those living in Gilead, Jabesh Gilead. And the assembly sent 12,000 men there of the mighty sons, and commanded them, saying, go, and you shall strike the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead with the mouth of the sword, even the woman and the little ones. And this is a thing which you shall do. You shall destroy every male and every woman who has been known by lying with a male. So they're saying, you go to this town, if you find anybody, any woman that's been known lying with a male, destroy them, okay? They looking for virgins, okay? They are trying to save the tribe of Benjamin, who has been cut off, okay? They don't want people who have already had sex. They want someone who has never known a man. They says, out of all the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead, they found 400 young women, virgins, who had not known a man by lying with a male, and they brought them into the camp of Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan. And all the assembly sent and spoke to the sons of Benjamin, who were in the rock of Rimmon, and called out peace to them. So they're making peace with Benjamin, to the ones who were in the rock. Okay, those who escaped to the rock of Rimmon. And Benjamin came again at that time, and they gave the women whom they had kept alive of the women of Jabesh Gilead, but they did not find enough for them. Okay, it wasn't enough. And the people repented as to Benjamin, for Yah had made a breach among the tribes of Israel. And the elders of the assembly said, what shall we do? So when they're repenting, they're changing their minds and their hearts, okay? Because Yah repented that he made mankind in Genesis 6, but it didn't mean he didn't sin. It mean he changed his mind, okay? For what shall we do to the remnant, for the wives, for the women who have been destroyed out of Benjamin? And they said, the one who escaped shall be a legacy of Benjamin, that a tribe may not be blotted out from Israel. So those who escape, they're going to be the legacy of Benjamin, okay? So today he said they're trying to save their tribe, okay? That Benjamin be not blotted out, that there be no more Benjamite. And we shall surely not be able to give them wives for our daughters, for the sons of Israel have sworn, saying, cursed is he who gives a wife to Benjamin. So remember, they took that oath. Okay, so they cannot say, here, take, one of our daughters so that you can make and keep Benjamin alive. And they said, behold, okay, there is a feast of Yah from year to year in Shiloh on the north side of Bethel, towards the rising of the sun, by the highway which goes up from Bethel to Shechem, and on the south side of Lebanon. We're in chapter 21, guys. We're almost done. And they commanded the sons of Benjamin, saying, go, and you shall lie in wait in the vineyards, and you shall watch. And behold, when you see the young women of Shiloh come out for their dances, rush out from the vineyards, and each of you can take one of them home to the land of Benjamin to be your wife. And it shall come to pass, if their fathers or their brethren come to dispute with you, you will say to them, please grant them freely to us. We couldn't get enough wives for us for the men of Benjamin in the battle of Jabesh. And you didn't give them permission to marry your daughters, so you would be guilty of breaking the oath. So they're saying basically, their oath was, you cannot give your daughters. So basically they're saying if they go and take them and become wives with them, you're not really breaking the oath because you didn't directly give them to them. Do you understand what I'm saying? They were taken. So basically, if they try to dispute that, you can say, well, you're not really going to be guilty of breaking the oath because of the way that it's doing. You're not directly giving your daughters to them. And the sons of Benjamin did so, and took women according to their number from the dancers whom they had seized. And they went and returned to their inheritance, and they built cities and lived in them. So now they're being restored. This was the whole thing. They were weeping. And they were weeping over, because literally we are witnessing the tribe of Benjamin almost got completely annihilated. This is what happens when you have no king. The tribe of Benjamin were almost completely annihilated, where there would be no more Benjamin. Okay. And the sons of Israel departed from there at that time, every man to his tribe and family, each one departed from there to his inheritance. So Benjamin, let's talk about Benjamin for a second. When we read Genesis 49, verse 27, we know this is where Jacob, in Genesis 49, Jacob, when he knew that he was getting ready to die, he gathered all of his 12 sons together to bless them. Benjamin is the youngest of the 12. And the prophecy that he blessed with Benjamin, that Jacob, our forefather, blessed, was he said that Benjamin is a ravenous wolf. In the morning, he shall devour the prey, and at night, he shall divide the spoil. So we know that this chapter right here, Genesis 49:27, it testifies of the warlike nature that will come from this tribe. Okay, and even though it was the smallest of the 12 tribes, it is prophesied that Benjamin, the tribe of Benjamin, will be like a ravenous wolf. Ravenous means to devour, to covet, greedy. We saw the warlike nature, how strong they were, and how they were pretty much dropping their 11 in this battle. They were pretty much dropping their brothers like flies until Yah had to finally intervene and strike Benjamin. Okay, that's the only reason why. Okay, and so again, you know, when you think about the warlike nature, just think about what we just read. They rose up against their 11 brothers. Okay, and because of this, they were nearly annihilated because of their refusal to do what? To give up the perpetrators, to give up those who had violated their family. Okay, they didn't care. They did not care what had happened to one of their brothers. They weren't willing to give it up. But even though Benjamin is the smallest or the least of the 12 tribes, there's some mighty people who came from Benjamin. We know that the apostle Shaul or Paul, he is said that he comes from the tribe of Benjamin. We know that Yah used Mordecai and Esther, and they were from the tribe of Benjamin. Saul, he was from the land of Benjamin. And when you read 1 Kings chapter 12, it tells you that the tribe of Benjamin, they united, and I talked about this earlier, but they united with the house of Judah. After the split, King Solomon's death, they decided to unite. Benjamin and Levi, they united with the southern kingdom, which is Yehuda or Judah, to become part of the house of Judah. Also, during Ezra and Nehemiah's time, Benjamin was the tribe that returned with Judah to rebuild the temple, to rebuild the kingdom. And so Benjamin plays a very special role, and some very strong people come out of Benjamin. And Paul himself said that he was from the tribe of Benjamin. But again, every man, when we read the last verse, and this is the last verse, okay, this is the end. In those days, it says, the very last verse, in those days, there was no king in Israel. Every man did what was right in his own eyes. Okay, and so we started with this continuous cycle of sin and redemption, and it ends with the same thing. Every man does what is right in his own eyes. When there is no king, when there is no shepherd, okay, every man does what is right in his own eyes. And we see this today. Okay. And the question that I have is, what do we get? What do we get from this? What did we get from this? When I look at what we've read, not only during week 6, but just in all the previous weeks, when there is no king, the people rule. Okay. And when the people rule, what does it tell us in Proverbs 14:12? There's a way that seems right to man, but in the end thereof, there are the ways of death. When the people are in rule, when the people are in charge, when we do what is right in our own eyes, Yah tells us in Proverbs 14:12, there's a way that seems right to a man, but he says, but in the end, it brings death. It brings death. And sadly, I'm afraid to say that we are living in a world right now where this statement can never ring truer. Okay, it's the same today, if not even more than it was then. In fact, when you think about that, there is a way that seems right. Everyone is doing what is right in his own eyes. This describes the current day and times that we live in right now. Every man is doing what is right in his own eyes. And this is why Yah says there's a way that seems right to man. He said, but in the end, it brings death. We're living in a world where people have rejected Yah. And I've been thinking about that all week. Like, your creation, Yah, that you created, has rebelled against you. Yah's creation has rejected him. The world has rejected Yah's commandments. They reject his laws, his statutes. They don't want to do what he tells them to do, how he tells them to do it, when he tells them to do it, where, because a statute gives you more specific details on how to carry out or to keep or perform a specific law or a commandment that he gives. So we can't just do what we want to do, just like when people, Israel celebrating these feasts, we just want to do it the way that that seem right to us. Well, I just want to do it this way. I'm going to do it on this day. Oh, I'm going to do it on that day. I'm going to do it next month. Well, I'm going to do it the month after. I'm going to do it on a Wednesday. I'm going to do it on a Thursday. I'm going to do it on a Friday. Well, I'm going to add eggs and shake bone. Oh, I'm going to boil it. I'm going to, when he told you not to do it. When I first came into this truth, because I did not know, I was attending feasts and I'm thinking, and they was doing what was right in their own eyes. They were doing what seemed right to them. I'm sitting up at a table with a lamb that's been boiled when he told you not to do that. So we are living in a time right now where the churches, the assemblies are, the pulpits are full of Micahs. They are full of hired priests, okay? Hired shepherds, okay? Hirelings end up betraying the people. We've seen it time and time again in scripture, okay? They fail the people. In the end, they end up forsaking the people. Many of you may be in congregations, especially if you're in Christianity, and you have pastors, preachers that are hirelings, teachers that are hirelings. They're going to teach what it seems right. They're going to teach what they believe instead of doing what Yah has said. We are living in a time where people, pastors and teachers compromise. They will take money to pervert judgment, to distort and mislead the people of Yah away from the truth of his word. This is what happens when you have no priest, when you do not have a true shepherd, someone who has truly been ordained and been called and chosen by Yah. When there is no king, when there is no judge, the people judge, okay? But it's with an unrighteous judgment, unrighteous rulership, a perverted judgment. People want to say, oh, well, I'm a believer. I'm a believer. Like people say, you believer, but you continue to keep breaking the commandments. What you believe, well, I believe that the Sabbath, I know that the fourth commandment says to remember the Sabbath day and keep it set apart. When did Yah tell us to set it apart? Did he tell us to set apart the first day, Sunday? No, he said the seventh day. He is very specific. And yet people will tell you, oh, well, I believe, but that's the problem. You doing what is right in your eyes. What did he tell you? What did he tell you to do? Did he tell you to make the sixth day, the seventh day, the first day, the second day? The people say, well, every day is a Sabbath. Where is that in scripture? I'm still looking for it. I've been looking for it for 17 years. Where is that every day is a Sabbath when he gives you a specific day? It's the fourth commandment. He says to keep it holy. But people say, well, I believe on a Sabbath where I can go shopping, or I can go, to the movies. I can cook and I can clean. And we talking about even some of these Hebrews. I have seen Hebrews trying to do teachers, trying to make excuses for working on the Sabbath and cooking and cleaning on the Sabbath. And doing things that don't bring glory to God on the Sabbath. Going and buying things on the Sabbath. People talking about they Shabbat shalom, and you sitting up at a basketball game or a football game on the Sabbath. Talk about Shabbat shalom. Really? People do what is right in their own eyes. Yah says that your way, the way that you deem to be right, is going to bring death to you. You're going to be on that day a judgment. I prophesied in your name. I cast out demons in your name. I did many wonderful things. He's going to say, I never knew you. I never knew you. You didn't keep my commandments. You were not in covenant with me. You did what was right in your own eyes. You did what you deemed right. You read my word. And I told you when my set apart day was. And I told you how to keep it. The Sabbath day is a statute. So statutory laws have specific details on how to keep a particular law in our own land. If the law is no speeding, the statutory law is going to come in and give you specific details. Speeding in a residential area is not the same thing as speeding on a freeway. In a residential area, it may say anywhere 5 to 15 miles per hour. When you get on the freeway, you can go anywhere from 55 to up to 70 miles per hour here in Michigan. It's different, but the statutory law will tell you how to keep it. So people do not understand. Yeah, they don't understand him. They don't know him. They're just like Micah. They got a household full of guys. You got I don't been to functions. That's why I stopped going to many of these Israelite functions. I don't go anywhere because majority of them are shalom, and they don't put Yah at the end of their name. They break the Sabbath day. They don't honor the set apart day. Some of them still probably eating pork and shrimp, trying to make excuses for it. We know still celebrating birthdays. Some of them still celebrating holidays, still haven't let go of the world. All they have done is wrapped some up on top of their head and put on a mitri, or put on tassels and learn how to speak Hebrew and think I'm Hebrew, shalom. No, Yah does not care about your outward appearance. He cares about what's in your heart. You're being Israel has become, and I keep saying this, has become a distraction to Israel. Israel is not about, because I'm a descendant of Jacob. What happened to those that were in the wilderness? Are their bones? Didn't their bones lie dead in that wilderness? Did they make it out? Didn't they know they was Israel while they was dancing around that golden calf? Look what happened with Micah, a house full of idols. And the mother talking about blessed be the name of Yah. See, our people don't know Yah. Our people do not know Yah because they do not study to show themselves approved. They have not consecrated themselves. They have not set themselves apart. If you are saying you're a believer, then you must keep his commandments. If you say you love him, he says, those who love me keep my commandments, and my commandments are not grievous. If you can't wait till the sun go down to go to a basketball game or to a football game, if you can't wait till the sun go down to go catch a movie, you can't wait till the sun go down to go shopping. You can't set aside 24 hours. He gives you 6 days to do what you want. He gives you a 24-hour period from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday to honor him, to exalt him, to glorify him, to spend time with him, to rest. And you can't do that? So we're at the end of this study. This was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful study. For those of you, Pretty, you can come in. For those of you who are joining us, I will have the email address come across the screen. You must email us, and you must email us for the link by Friday of next week, which I believe is the 22nd. Yes, next Friday. So Friday, the 22nd, October 22nd is the cutoff date. So please, I am asking that if you would like to join us for week 7, our fellowship, the camera will not be on. We're going to have an open discussion, open midrash. We're going to talk about this entire book that we have learned. And I have a special message. And we want to see you all come out. It will be recorded, but again, you won't have to worry about any cameras. Just the study, and the assignment is going to be, and I want everybody to write this down, is I want you to think about the heart of a shepherd. That's your assignment, to think about the heart of a shepherd. And we're going to have our discussions and about that. Think about the heart of a shepherd. That's your homework assignment that I want you to bring to this study, along with whatever notes that you have that you would like to share. Prina, you can come on in, sis.
I'm in, sis. Hallelujah. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, okay? I am telling you, when you thought you don't seen it all, read it all, this book, the whole book of Judges, I'm telling you, we truly see the heart of Israel.
Right.
From every aspect. But I'm just telling you, Micah, when I saw that, I'm like, oh my goodness. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, when it started out in the beginning, everybody does what's right in their own eyes. And so when you do what's right in your own eyes, you don't see what
you don't follow it's what you think is
right.
You say, well, I think. And when people say, I mean, how many times you try to share truth, and you're sharing the word, and they're looking at it and saying, but you know what, I think this. It's like, we're not talking about what you think. Either you're a believer or you're not. And if you are a true believer, you have to believe what your beliefs have to line up with the word of Yah. You cannot have beliefs that contradict the word of Yah, because if you do, you're only fooling yourself and saying you believe.
Absolutely.
You're not a believer.
Absolutely. And for Micah, when I was like, how dare you go ordain yourself a priest for yourself, like you a God. You know what I'm saying?
I think it was his son, and
his son
made a ephod, his son, and then hired somebody else to be a priest to him.
Right. So, but how dare you? For you.
Don't we see that?
All the time.
It's what's happening in the churches.
Absolutely.
They sit up there putting on all that stuff and putting all that stuff and wrapping it around them. We don't see it all the time. And
absolutely.
They have ordained themselves, and that's the reason why they're doing what is right in their own eyes.
Absolutely. And I was just laughing at how he go chase after Dan when he trying to go get his possessions and
right. He's like, what's the matter? He said, what's the matter? Like, what you chasing me? Like, can you ask me what's the matter? You just ran out with all my stuff.
Right.
Like, you confused.
Right, and then take it for himself. But what really, oh my goodness, what really struck me was Benjamin.
Right. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I did not know that about Benjamin until I did this study.
Me either. I'm like, oh my goodness. And like you said, it wasn't no judge. So he was like, look, I'm just gonna cut her pieces up into 12, send them out, and hopefully justice will be served. And Yah came through it, and Benjamin was not completely, because at first I thought Benjamin was gonna get completely annihilated.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It was heading that way.
Yeah. But Yah had a remnant, and it just shows the awesomeness of Yah and the mercy and grace that he have on his people. And as you was talking, sis, on how when there is no king and the people are ruling and they do what's right, it's just chaos. It's chaos. And we see the curses in that have fell upon us from stepping away from the covenant.
Right.
But really, when you did Benjamin, and he when he would not remove the worthless men.
Yeah, he wouldn't give. He was supposed to give them up because they were on his land and he refused to give them up.
Yes, and I'm like, wow.
And these were men who were homosexuals too.
Yes, and I'm like, oh my goodness, Sodom and Gomorrah.
Right. That's what. And who knew that was? It was almost like an exact picture of what we had read.
Yes.
I was like, I didn't even know that was even in there.
Me either. And I read the book of Judges, and I'm like, I don't remember recalling.
Right.
But you know what? When you did this in-depth study, the Ruach led you to hone in on some key things. And I'm telling you, I was just in awe of the book of Judges. You know, this is probably one of my favorite books now. You know,
you're right. And I'm kind of sad it's over because it's like we
right. Because I'm like, I didn't know how in depth this was, how much revelation it was. You know, how much gore it was. I mean, you just like watching a movie when you're reading it.
Right. We were. It seemed like it didn't. It was like
yes. But I in all, I really truly enjoyed our study together in the book of Judges, and I can't wait to hear the message and as well as reflect on the question the thinking of the heart of what a shepherd. Yes. So I am looking forward to next week to Midrash with our family. And I just pray that you all, you know, those that have watched from the beginning and listened to from the beginning and end will come and join us and share your thoughts in this study too. So I just say praise be to Yah, hallelujah, hallelujah, because this was just awesome. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I really did enjoy this study. I really did, and I, you know, going through it a second time, just like makes even more sense, you know, because I had to go through it during that time I was off.
Yeah,
you know, the 6 or 7 weeks I was off, I went through it by myself, and then it was like, you need to go before the people with this, and so, you know, just preparing now for next week, you know, and just excited. And so for those of you who would like to join us next Sabbath for our Zoom fellowship, I'm hoping that some of you who always hear from and comment, please join us. You're going to email us. You can start as early as today, emailing us right after this live is over with. You can start emailing us all the way up until Friday, the 22nd. If you email us by Friday, and I'm going to give a time for that too, because I'm not going to keep checking my email. So you have up until Friday, 8 o'clock, Friday, October 22nd, up until 8 o'clock next Friday, the 22nd, to email us your intentions. If you would like, if you're not going to, you don't have to email us at all. But for those of you who would like to attend, please email us. The email address is on the screen at Daughter of Yah TM. TM stands for Teacher Ministry. Daughter of Yah TM at gmail.com. I will be checking daily that email, and you will get the link. For those of you who are interested, you will get the link, and the link will you will get the link on and I will respond and give you the link. You'll get the link on Friday. So I'm sending everyone the link on Friday. Okay, so if at 8 p.m. I will be checking the email. Okay, Daughter of Yah TM, I will be checking the email. If you email us, I will respond that I have your inquiry to fellowship with us, but you won't get the link, but I will let you know and respond back so that you will know that, okay, she did get it, you know, and I can just expect the link. I will respond, but you won't get the link. And what I'm doing when I'm responding, I'm writing down names, and also send you the link so that you can join us on that day. Okay. And so Prina, do you have anything that you would like to add?
No, I'm just saying this just really blessed. This was just blessed me. I'm just in awe of just. I'm gonna have to go back and look at all the series. Listen, because I'm telling you, again, because I'm on the side where I make sure I have everything for summation. So I like to absorb.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so this was truly a blessing, and I just give praise to Yah, bless his name.
Yes. Bless the name of Yah.
And I just can't wait to next week. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm excited about next week too. I'm just excited to fellowship and want to know what everyone is thinking and everything.
Yes.
So having said that, we will see you on next Shabbat, Yah willing. For our fellowship, it will be via Zoom. When you get the Zoom link, it will the fellowship will begin at 2 p.m. So it will still begin at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You will get the link and it will be instructions. I'm asking for everyone to begin coming in. The link will open up at 1:45 p.m. so that we can begin at 2 p.m. on time. This is not going to be CP time. So I want everyone to come in at 1:45 so that we can begin at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're not in by 2:02, okay, because I want to start one time. You will not, if you're in the waiting room, you'll be in there. I won't let you in because once I get started, I don't want any interruption. So I'm asking that if you're not logged in by 2 p.m., please just don't log in, even if you had intentions. Okay, so we'll have everybody enter in, and that information will be in the link so that you will know 1:45 is when the room will open up for you to come in, and you will have at that time 15 minutes to get in, because once I close it off, I'm not allowing anyone else in. So having said that, may Yah bless and keep you. May he make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May Yah lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom.
Who is like you? Who is like you? In all your power, who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Let him come stand before you. Who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? In all your glory, who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Let him come stand before you. Who is like you? Who is like you? Is there any king not under you?
الرب القدير في القتال.
Is there any power not bowing to you? Who is like 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 you?
الرب القدير في القتال. الرب رجل الحرب. الرب قاضي عادل. الرب يدين الأرض، ديان الأرض. الرب قاضي. الرب قاضي.
Who is like you? 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 Who is there any God? Who You made something new. You made something new. You made something new. You made something new. Who was like you? You made something new. You made something new. You made something new. Ìwọ nìkan làwa yóò máa bọ̀.
We will worship only you. 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 We will worship only you.